Johnny Depp is no stranger to controversy, but when he agreed to appear on The View for a rare daytime interview, few could have predicted the spectacle that would follow, promoting his latest independent film and touching on his journey back into the public spotlight. Depp entered the studio with his usual enigmatic charm, dark sunglasses, a layered bohemian ensemble, and that quiet, deliberate voice that has captivated audiences for decades. At first, the conversation was light. Questions about the film's production, its creative process, and even his musical side projects. But as expected, Joy Behar steered the conversation into deeper waters. "Johnny," she said, "it's no secret that your past has been turbulent. Do you think Hollywood should really welcome you back with open arms?" The audience stirred uncomfortably. Depp gave a faint smile, removed his glasses, and replied, "You mean, do I deserve redemption?" What followed was an exchange that grew sharper by the minute, until Depp, visibly displeased, stood up, removed his mic, and walked off the set, leaving behind one of the most talked about moments in The View's history. Asterisk. Joy's question hung in the air like smoke. Whoopi Goldberg attempted to redirect the topic, perhaps sensing the growing tension. But Johnny wasn't one to dodge a direct hit. "It's fascinating," he said, "how forgiveness and second chances are offered to some without hesitation, and others are put on public trial over and over again, regardless of the verdict." Joy folded her arms, leaned forward slightly, and said, "But let's be real here. Johnny, public trust is earned, not assumed. Some people think your return to film feels premature, even privileged." There was a collective intake of breath from the audience. Depp's gaze didn't waver. "What's premature is judging a person without listening. What's privileged is pretending. Daytime TV gives people a fair shake," he said flatly. Whoopi winced. Sunny Hostin tried to mediate by shifting to a question about his recent collaboration with European filmmakers, but Joy cut in again, asking, "Do you think your fans have blinded themselves to your flaws?" At that point, Depp tilted his head, stared at her for a long second, and said, "Do you think your viewers are being served by this line of questioning, Joy? Or are we just performing outrage for ratings?" Asterisk. The audience sat frozen, unsure whether to applaud his boldness or cringe at the escalating awkwardness. Joy, unfazed, replied, "It's our job to ask what people are thinking." Johnny's tone cooled further. "And it's mine to walk away when the conversation stops being a conversation." But he didn't leave yet. Instead, he leaned into the moment. "Look," he continued, "I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. I've faced courts, I've faced tabloids, and I've faced myself. I've made mistakes, and I've paid dearly, financially, professionally, emotionally. But the one thing I won't do is keep apologizing to people who've already decided. I'm guilty of something new every time I walk into a room." The studio was silent. Even Joy had no immediate comeback. Whoopi shifted in her seat. "I want to be fair," she offered. "But we also can't ignore what people are feeling," Depp responded. "Then maybe they should feel the weight of their own judgments before throwing them at someone else." The temperature in the room had dropped to ice. Asterisk. After a few beats of uncomfortable silence, Kellyanne, one of the producers, stepped onto the edge of the set, giving the universal wrap-it-up signal. But Joy wasn't finished.
"Ow."
She tried once more. "To press the issue, you still haven't answered. Do you think you deserve a comeback?" Depp blinked slowly, sighed, and replied, "I think I deserve peace. The rest is noise." With that, he removed his lapel mic, handed it to the assistant beside him, and rose from his chair. "Thanks for the tea," he said, tipping an invisible hat to Whoopi and Sunny. He gave Joy a pointed glance, not angry, but profoundly tired, then turned and walked off the set without waiting for applause, music, or an outro. The cameras cut to a stunned Whoopi, who quickly said, "We'll be right back," and the screen faded to commercial. In that brief moment, decades of Hollywood charm, media scrutiny, and emotional vulnerability collided in. The internet was about to explode. Asterisk. Within minutes of the episode airing, clips of Depp's walkout flooded social media. Fans came out in full force, using hashtags like #JusticeForJohnny, #DeppOnTheView, and #WalkedWithDignity. Many praised his poise and restraint, saying he handled a hostile environment with the same cool he'd brought to the courtroom during his defamation trial. Critics, however, weren't silent. Some accused him of evading accountability, while others argued Joy Behar had every right to ask difficult questions. Still, it was hard to ignore the public sentiment. Depp had won the moment not by sparring, but by choosing to exit. Numerous celebrities chimed in. Winona Ryder posted a cryptic quote about Grace. Robert Downey Jr. liked several pro-Depp posts. Even talk show hosts weighed in, some defending Joy, others calling the segment a cautionary tale in what not to do when dealing with guests. Already scrutinized by the world, the divide was stark, but the consensus was clear. This wasn't just another celebrity interview gone wrong. It was a referendum on media ethics, public forgiveness, and the cost of scrutiny. ABC issued a carefully worded statement the next morning. We thank Mr. Depp for appearing on The View and regret that discussion did not meet its intended tone. Meanwhile, Joy addressed the walkout briefly on the next day's broadcast. Sometimes conversations go sideways, she said, but we're here to have honest discussions, even if they're uncomfortable. The comment drew applause from the live audience, but online viewers remained divided. Inside sources leaked that the production team had received specific guidelines from Depp's management, including avoiding framing questions around past controversies. While Joy hadn't outright broken those terms, she had, as one insider put it, danced right up to the edge and dared him to fall off. Producers were reportedly blindsided by the intensity of the exchange and were now re-evaluating how they handle guests with contentious public histories. Still, no one expected Joy to apologize. She'd built a career on being unapologetically herself, and this moment was no exception. Johnny, for his part, stayed silent for 2 days before, releasing a short video on Instagram. Sitting by a beachside bonfire with a guitar in his lap, he addressed the incident without naming names. Some conversations are meant to enlighten, he said. Others are designed to trap. When you feel that shift, you don't owe anyone your discomfort. The video garnered millions of views and was praised for its poetic simplicity. His fans saw it as a definitive closing statement. The media frenzy, however, continued. Editors debated whether Depp had reclaimed control of his image or simply reinforced his reluctance to be questioned. Editorials popped up across Variety, Rolling Stone, and even The Guardian asking if daytime television is equipped to handle the nuances of trauma, redemption, and celebrity without turning it into a spectacle. The View, for all its influence, now found itself on the defensive again. Not just for this incident, but for what it revealed about the limits of televised discourse. In the weeks following the incident, Depp resumed his press tour, avoiding American morning shows entirely and instead granting quiet, introspective interviews to international outlets and film journals. He was asked gentle questions about artistry, legacy, and his hopes for the future. Meanwhile, Joy continued to double down on her position. On a guest spot for a podcast, she stated, "If you can't handle a question, maybe you shouldn't be doing interviews." The statement reignited fury online, especially among Depp supporters who felt she had pushed too hard. The divide between media figures and their audiences grew more pronounced. To some, Joy was the last bastion of unfiltered truth-telling in a sea of fluff. To others, she symbolized everything wrong with the entertainment industrial complex where provocation is valued over empathy and ratings take precedence over humanity. And through it all, Johnny Depp kept quiet, his silence amplifying the impact of his exit tenfold. Eventually, the noise died down, but the impact lingered. The incident became case study fodder in journalism schools, PR seminars, and YouTube commentary channels alike. Analysts broke down what they called the Depp exit as a masterclass in controlling a narrative without speaking too much. Professors discussed the psychology of body language, power dynamics in interviews, and how celebrity personas are either dismantled or reinforced in mere minutes on live television. Meanwhile, The View continued its routine, hosting politicians, pop stars, and viral personalities, some of whom joked about not pulling a Johnny. It became cultural shorthand, walking out when the room stops feeling like a safe space. For fans, Depp's decision wasn't just admirable, was aspirational. Reminder that everyone, no matter how famous or scrutinized, has the right to draw a line and walk away from a conversation that's no longer rooted in mutual respect.